Hey guys, today we're looking at another tire from Proline, the Open Country RT Trail, Toyo Open Country RT Trail in G8 compound. From what I can tell, Proline kind of has two different options with this tire. The Open Country RT, which is like 4.4 inches tall, and then the RT Trail, which is this tire, which is full-size class 2. I do not have just the RT yet. I'll probably get a pair at some point, or a set at some point, but so I don't know. From the pictures, the lug looks similar, but there's some differences. So far on the side hill, on the entry, taking the lower line, a little bit of side slide, nothing bad. Ooh. Now we need to turn up. Give me a little more turn up. Okay, give me that rear pivot so that we can reposition. Front passenger is starting to come up a little. Need to settle. There we go. And now we'll get that pivot. Inside the Open Countries, we are running Tim10 dual stage foams, which is basically like a Proline dual stage foam. Looks very similar. Used to be able to get these on Amazon. I haven't seen them recently, but I have recently found some that I believe are exactly like them that have not arrived yet. Once those arrive, if I like them, I ordered 5 sets. I mean, if I like them, I'll put a link to them because they're like $20 for a set of 4, and it's a good dual stage foam. If they're anything like the Tim10s, it's a good dual stage foam that, in my opinion, is better than a silicone insert. Open Country is doing really well on the side hill. Really, I mean, not much to say. They did it all. There were no issues, no excessive side slide. No roll-offs. Positionability was good. Able to reposition. Yeah, no complaints. The Open Country is definitely more of an all-terrain lug design. A little bit tighter lug pattern. So we'll see how that affects us with forward drive. Interestingly, on my 1-to-1 truck, I run Toyo Open Country ATs. I really like them. I mean, it's not a rock crawler. It's a little Nissan Frontier. It's just what I use it's kind of my daily driver, and I use it a lot for hunting and coming out here and doing stuff. And I like that little truck because I can physically fit it in a lot of places where a bigger truck can't go. But the Toyos have been good tires on it, and it's not even four-wheel drive. It's 2-wheel drive, but I've got I put a locker in the rear, so it's a locked rear differential, and I can get that truck quite a few places where I've seen four-wheel drives get stuck, because a lot of your four-wheel drives these days are actually a 2-wheel drive truck. It's just splitting your load between the front and rear, so both the front and rear will have an open diff, and so you're still only getting power to the ground with 2 tires. I'm not saying my 2-wheel drive can do anything that a 4-wheel drive can do. I'm just saying I have had it in areas. Sometimes having a locked differential is better than four-wheel drive if you don't have true 4-wheel drive. Anyway. Getting the Toyos onto our newer obstacle. Let's see if they can slow walk this. Most tires cannot. We have to apply a little wheel speed. That's largely just due to the steepness of this obstacle and the fact that that rear tire kind of gets settled down in that crack at the bottom of it. And the Open Countries looks like it's going to be no different with these. There's a couple different lines we can try to get up on here, but so far with all of them, we're kind of pitching the front end in the air the same. Yeah. So this is not a problem with the tire again. This is pretty much how this obstacle has been driven with most tires. So we'll get ourselves positioned correctly And we'll give it the juice. Yeah, there we go. If you could slow walk that, I would say that's exceptional performance. Having to bump, that's still good performance. Being able to get up there at all is good performance because it's actually a pretty difficult line. And now coming on to our second new obstacle. There's good forward drive getting off there. Now we kind of do a crab walk side hill in a way so that we can come up here. Yeah, there's the side slide that is caused by the lip on that rock and right up and over. That wind is starting to come up this afternoon. Hopefully it's not too bad on camera. I've got my lapels with me, but I probably need to charge them, and I really don't like doing the lapel because it blocks out the audio from all you can hear is my voice, and I just think it sounds weird. But that wind gets too much worse, we'll have to switch the lapel, or at least if the wind, right now it seems to be breezes coming and going, it's not sustained gusts, so we'll see what happens. About 2:30 in the afternoon here on November 1st, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, good push up on there. This obstacle I talked about this in one of the previous videos, is this obstacle is starting to get easier. It was in a stage in its erosion cycle to where the surface was very slick, but it has passed through that stage, and now it is at its grippiest point. With the way sandstone erodes, is it kind of goes through these cycles, and it'll be, sandstone normally is a decently grippy surface, so it'll spend about 80% of its life as a pretty grippy surface, as a decently grippy surface. It'll spend about 10% of its life, 15% of its life probably, is a very slippery surface, and then 5% of its life is an extremely grippy surface as it goes through these erosion cycles. So it's always interesting to actually see it happening out here. And there's going to be a cover photo. I'll be right back. Anyway, that's the way it works out here by the lake. I can't speak, I'm not a geologist, I can't speak to that's how sandstone always is. But out here, with the amount of rain that happens and the amount of time that some of this stuff spends underwater when the lake gets high, some of these rocks definitely seem to go through a lot of different stages where it'll be high grip, low grip, no grip, decent grip. Just kind of depends. So far, I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised with these open countries. A lot of times with this kind of rock crawling, the tires with closer together lugs don't do real well. And Proline, Proline tires are always kind of hit or miss for me. I recently drove the Aztecs, and those were just in G8. I'll hardly ever drive Predator out here due to surface and temperature, and just Predator, I just don't really love that compound, even though it is very grippy. It's also very rippy, and the sandstone just tears it up. But I recently drove Aztecs, and they were in the top 5 best tires that I've driven on this course, on camera at least. But some of the other Proline tires that I've driven on camera, I haven't been really impressed with. And so far, I'm finding the open countries a pleasant surprise. Of course, it's a little early to say that that this is a good tire. because we have yet to run the hardest obstacles on the course. But so far, we're making pretty easy work of most of this. The Hyrax, for instance, was pretty awful out here. And the flat iron was just kind of unremarkable. But, you know, those are different lugs, different tires. And interestingly, you know, the Open Country being an actual scale tire, scale tires, you usually are making a sacrifice with a scale tire. It seems to, in our crawling world, if you want the absolute best performance, a scale lug is not where it's at. And I'm not saying that this is an exception to that. Like, I don't think we're going to get the absolute best performance, but it's always interesting to me when a scale tire outperforms a not scale tire, like a Hyrax, for instance, just because you have the opportunity to develop a tire. If it's not scale, then you make that lug as capable as you possibly can. So I always find that humorous. But the Hyrax is one of those tires that, not so much these days, but not that long ago, you heard it a lot referred to as the GOAT, and I've just always thought it was overrated. All right, pulling up to one of our most difficult obstacles, if not the most difficult obstacle on the course right now. And failing to drive correctly gave us a nice rollout right there. That was not tire, that was driver. All right. Now, I'm pretty sure we're not going to slow walk up this. Well, that's not bad. Maybe. Let's give it some time. We get some forward progress and then a little bit of slide back. Little tiny bit of traction hop. Let's get a little throttle. Are we hung on something? No. So progress halted right there, but let's see if we can just ease our way over. We are okay. Can we still? No. Okay, we're gonna see if we can just ease our way over and hook that side lug. Slow and steady. A little throttle. A little throttle. A little throttle. One more throttle. Okay, there we go. There's the side lug hook. And now we'll just use that to walk us right up the edge of this rock. So while we didn't get the slow walk straight up the surface, this is almost as good of performance as you can ask for while having to hook that side lug. A little bit more wheel speed than like the best of them, but really not bad at all. And I kind of wonder if in this tire, those Tim Tins, I mean, they're not stiff, you know, it's still allowing the tire to conform to the surface. But what I like a lot about dual stage foams most of the time is I can choose a foam for the tire that doesn't allow it to bag a lot, because I typically don't love a lot of bag with the tire. That's just a personal preference. I prefer a tire that conforms to the surface, but it doesn't bag. It doesn't give you that deflated look. But some tires perform really well with that bag, and I kind of wonder if this wouldn't be one of them. What I'm getting at is I kind of wonder if this wouldn't be able to slow walk that obstacle we just came up with a Three Brothers foam like the one that I ran in the Aztec. That tire bagged quite a bit with those Three Brothers foams in them. I wonder what this would do. Drove that a little bit wrong. We'll see if I can still get the right line for that diff hang up. Yeah, that's good. So, can we pull it off? Well, I didn't get quite the right line. I've slipped down further than I need. Then, yeah, we're gonna have to reset. That's pretty much driver error. You have to get on here pretty pretty straight and take a pretty specific line to hang that diff up, because what we're trying to do is hang the rear pumpkin and then see if the front tires have enough grip to pull us off the hang up. But if you get too far towards me, you'll slip off the edge, and then unless you've got a big old class 3, you're not getting back up. Okay, that was a really good pull off of the hang up there. Now some of that is going to be because, you know, the size of this tire, I'm with the tire and the insert that I have in this tire, I'm able to take full advantage of that 475 height, which definitely helps on the pull off there. But we still did get a hang up, and we were able to pull it off with nothing but the traction of the front tire, so that's pretty good. Coming up here now, we will see if we can slow walk up this guy. Slow walking up these is not necessarily required to get a good recommendation, but it's always preferred over having to use wheel speed. And yeah, that's really good. Let's see how it holds. Little bit of slide back initially. Yeah, it seems to hold pretty well. And a good dismount. Able to give me the right amount of wheel speed when I need it. Sometimes the tire will, if it doesn't have enough grip, it'll spin a little bit too much when you try to get the wheel speed you need to dismount that obstacle, because you have to get enough wheel speed. If you don't get it, you'll just get hung up on the front links because of the way that rock drops off. And we've got a hang up right now. Speaking of hang ups, oh, got to come this way. There we go. And now for the trailing portion of our course. They call this the RT Trail. I mean, granted, it's scale tire, so that's what Toyo calls it. But in our RC world, at least, the RT Trail seems to be a pretty good rock crawling tire. Get that lip. So on this rock, now let me get up and I'll show you. It might seem like this should be really easy, but as you can see on this rock right here, this kind of line, that's, I wonder if I can show you a better angle of that. It's really hard to get angles on some of this stuff from a standing position. There's a pretty good, well, here. Pretty good lip there. So that's why you'll see a lot of tires hesitate right there. That's why from recording these, especially with the chest mount, I think one of the disadvantages is sometimes with the angle that you guys see on camera, being a top-down angle, you're not always getting the most accurate look at the obstacle itself. Like I think a lot of the obstacles look easier on camera than they actually are. But I just, you know, I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. The ground out here is too uneven, and I cover too much ground with my course for me to do the tripod anymore and try to give you optimal low angles. It just, I don't want to spend 2 hours recording every video. Loose gravel hill climb. Minimal throttle so far. And now we're kind of hung up. Somebody's setting up camp. Don't get too many other people out here camping in the primitive sites this time of year. That's kind of cool. Okay, so one area where we're struggling right now. Now there are a lot of leaves right here, so some of this is just getting those leaves cleared out of the way so we can actually touch the surface. But we're getting a lot of slide back right there. Ooh, we just made it. I was just about to resort to mid throttle. You know, I mean, there are some leaves there. I'll say a few leaves have fallen since the last time I drove that earlier, but I've driven up here 5 times today with other tires, and this was probably the worst performance of all those. Not bad performance, but not really surprising performance either. With that tight packed lug, that's kind of what you're going to get on a loose surface, because the lug can't I don't know how to say it. The lug can't grab those rocks individually and push up against them, because it's just driving over the top of them. So what I'm getting at is that's not so bad. All right. How about those open countries? Yeah, that wasn't bad. Not the best tire I've driven. Not the worst. Definitely not the worst Proline I've driven. I think that's a good tire. If you want a scale tire, I think it's a really good scale tire. The thing is, they're Proline priced. So, you know, the $33 for a set of 2 right now, or for a pair of 2 right now, on Amazon, some of them on A-Main. I got this pair off of Amazon for $25 for a pair. So $50 for the set. And then they've got $20 in foams in them. So it's $70 sitting here with tires and foams. For $70, you can get better performance with something else. But this is a scale tire. And so if you're building a scale rig, and whether you're building something that's modeled after your personal 1-to-1 or a 1-to-1 that you like, or you're just building a scale rig and you need a scale tire, this is a good scale tire. It's one of the better scale tires that I personally have run, especially on camera. So I would say if you're not looking for a scale tire, there's better options. But if you're looking for a scale tire, this could be a really good choice. Have a good one, everybody.